gear, how you go? Today we're going to be doing an epic carve video. It's going to be massive, and it's not going to be one day, it's going to be several. So stay tuned. I'll do it all in one video so you won't realise how long this is going to take. But I'm thinking 20 plus hours of carving and styling and maybe painting the deadwood. 20 plus hours. Anyway, it's going to be pretty cool. So what we got here, we got the die grinder, which I fixed. I'll just show you that later how I fixed it. I had to put some new parts in it. I've got a spare part here because I told you it broke a while ago, which wasn't good. Got my carving bits. I've got a new lot of router bits from Bunnings, 55 bucks, and there's probably 6 usable bits in here, so that's pretty cool. Also got myself a little tiny router bit for this with a 6mm shaft. Okay, and just give you a little spin of the tree. Keep going round. And one thing I gotta tell you, this is gonna be a serious video. No mucking around, no drinking, no getting half cut, because we've got the power tools, and I don't want to wreck the tree. Yeah, no mucking around. Yeah, no mucking around. Serious. Alright, so I'll bring you in closer and I'll show you the carving bits I'm going to use, the new tools that I got from Bunnings. These tools are carbide tips, and for $55 it's almost the price of one specialised carving bit from a bonsai shop. But for $55 you can have several that you can use, and to be honest, they work really well, take off a lot of wood. The only problem is the Makita can't quite handle it. I'll bring you in close, show you the parts that I replaced in the Makita and the bits that we're going to use. I've got myself a little trolley here so that I can chuck stuff in that I'm not using. Keep it out of the way. My tools. Keep it all out of the way. And it's going to be an epic video. So I'll just show you all the bits and the stuff, and then I'll start talking about the tree. No worries. Cheers. And no mucking around. Okay guys, got you in close here. In all seriousness, you know, I won't be drinking and mucking around in this video, but I'll show you what I got. I got the tools to do put the bits in the die grinder. Obviously need them. I got a carving tool which I bought from Bonsai Sensation in Victoria. Another one that I bought from Bonsai Sensation in Victoria. They last a while and they go blunt and they're very hard to sharpen because it's curved edge. But I'll give it a go again, sharpen it. I've also got a little drill bit type carving, whatever you call it, implement, whatever, to do some more detailed work. A small little grinding bit for some very detailed work. I got the groove, the thing that I used to put the grooves in the deadwood, make it look more believable. The Dremel router bit. Okay, so that's all that. I'll just show you too. I bought this. This is a router bit which is a 6mm shaft which will fit this die grinder. and at least the die grinder will be able to handle this bit. So I'll try and bring that in close to the camera. Okay, so it's only got a single-sided blade, so I don't know whether it's going to vibrate a lot or what's going to happen because there's only one blade on one side. I'm sure it's balanced, but it's going to be scooping out wood only on one side. So we'll see how that goes. Tiny router bit, 3mm. So I bought that was 13 bucks. 13 bucks for that one. Oh, by the way, this tray, magnetic. So what happens when I'm not using anything, this is meant for car parts and stuff like that, but when I'm not using a bit, you know, I can chuck it in there like you see, and it won't roll away and I won't lose it. So if I keep everything in there, it should be all sweet and dandy. Right, next one, I bought this today. I bought the same kit a while ago, but I've blunted a lot of those bits and I can't be bothered sharpening them, and for 55 bucks, wow, it's hard to refuse just going out and buying a new lot. Okay, so here we go. Comes with a diamond stone to sharpen them because they're carbide. Yeah, tungsten carbide tips, as you might be able to see on the camera there. Okay, comes with your stone. Comes with a few different router bits. That's a single router bit, but that one's probably more like an 8mm or 6, not sure. A double-sided router bit, that's a smaller double router bit. That's pretty cool. I use that one a fair bit. And when I really want to chunk wood out, I can either get one of these big fat ones like here, big fat router bit, or this one here seriously chunks out the wood. It's got 2 blades, spins at a very high RPM being that far out, and all I do, it comes with an Allen key. Okay, all I do is I take this roller off, because obviously it's for a router, and I guess that's meant to roll along the wood. Okay, undo the Allen key, pull the roller off. I don't care if I lose it, then it won't get in the way, and you can use that to take some serious chunks of wood out. It gets crazy. That's why you don't want to be half cut using something like that. You end up in serious trouble. If that took off, got you in the hand or the arm, should be a trip up to the hospital, I reckon. Don't know, plastic cover, yeah. So that's for die grinder, 6mm shaft, 6.4 I think. And it's pretty good value for money. 55 bucks you get all these, and you'll find the router bits actually take a lot more wood out than the dedicated carving bits that you get. I'll show you. These dedicated carving bits, they're a lot smoother to use, but instead of having 2 surfaces to really chunk it out, it's got, what's that, 8. It's got 8. It's got 8 cutters. If they're really sharp, it'll take away a fair bit and be quite smooth, but still nothing compared to the router bit. And that's probably why I broke my die grinder. The Makita die grinder is not quite up to it. Can't really handle it. I'll show you why now, because the Makita, although it's got a lot of power in the motor, and it's pretty good in the motor side of things, in between the motor and the shaft here, so you got the motor here, shaft here, which runs to your bit. There's a coupling in here, and that only has a 4mm threaded bolt on it and it snaps. Why would you have a 6mm shaft with a 4mm bolt? I know I was pushing it pretty hard anyway, but at the end of the day, if it's meant to run 6mm stuff, you should at least have a 6mm shaft. So what's going on is on both sides of that motor and the gearbox, both sides have one of these couplings. And then in that coupling, you have this rubber grommet, which that sits into to help with the shock. And what you got here is a 4mm shaft, and this shears off here. Then you have to get the easy out, drill it out, get the easy out in there, pull it out and get a new one. I will say it was actually reasonably easy to source. Cost about $6 delivered. So cost wise it wasn't too bad, it's just the inconvenience. And it took probably 2 weeks actually. The website said they had them in stock in Australia, but they had to actually get them from overseas to Australia, then ship them out to me. So it took 2 or 3 weeks. And that's the part that breaks. But having said that, they are a bit on the cheaper end. Convenient for some people. And I do treat them pretty badly. I do carve out with some big bits on some very hard dead olive wood. So I do give them a hard time, I'll admit it. But I was still a little bit disappointed all the same. Anyway, enough mucking around with that. We're going to get onto the tree. Give you a bit of a close-up of this tree. So this tree in here has 3 trunks, sort of. Really only 2, but here's a third one, very small one, which will be in the front. Okay, so that's got to be carved out. It's got a massive flat cut there. A side branch, or trunk here I mean. Okay, that's got to have a lot of carving done to it. And then we got the main big trunk here. It's got no taper. As you can see, it almost gets fatter. And if you look from the side on, it's actually very thin. Thin, and then really fat the other way. So it looks quite odd. So what I'm going to do is try and carve some taper into it this way. Thin this side out. See how we go with that. Create a lot of dead wood, a lot of features. Yeah, hollow out the inside of these stubs and then sort of feather out the edges and make it look like an old rotted out stump or old rotted out branch where it's hollowed out like a log. And we'll do that and try and get rid of some of this fatness up the top and give it a bit of taper. So we'll see how we go with that. See what happens. Also this foliage, I'm going to have some serious trouble getting rid of this foliage. I'll just put you back on the, go back a bit on the tripod, and I'll just talk about the tree for a sec. Okay, so here we are with the tree, and well basically I collected this tree 3 years ago. I dug it out of an old olive grove where I guess the rootstock grew, which was a wild thing, I don't know. But these have got small leaves, so definitely not a fruiting olive. But it did come out of an olive grove, so not sure how you get small leaves out of an olive grove. Certainly a wild olive. But anyway, I dug it 3 or 4 years ago. After the first year, I potted it into here and cut the stubs back pretty hard and let them grow out. Oh, and when I collected it, I flat cut the bottom with no roots at all, 0 roots. At the widest point of the base, just under that or pretty close to it. Flat cut it, I beveled the edges, put some honey on it, antibacterial stuff, and put it into a bigger, wider pot, and then last year I put it into this pot, and it's put on a lot of growth since, so it's pretty happy. I'll just show you the roots on the side here. There's a crack in this pot because I've dropped it. It's so heavy, and I dropped it. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'll just show you here. Have a look at all those nice roots in there. The thing's absolutely covered in roots. Oh, and that's another thing. Ooh, sorry. All over the place. This tree, with the pot, everything would weigh anywhere from 60 to 80 kilo. On Adrian Eggleton's turntable, he also made the sign, if you haven't been watching, and he's spinning tree turntables. He's based in Queensland with the Tweed River Bonsai Club. Check him out on Facebook, buy some stuff off him. He sponsored me with the turntables. I'll just show you how good they are, 60 to 80 kilos. Look at that. Does it too easy. So anyway, so that's that. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to work out where I want to carve it, and in the meantime, wherever these clumps of foliage come from, I'm going to have to, because really you should carve out within the first year of collecting it so you don't have all this foliage, but I didn't do it. I was a bit lazy, a bit busy, been moving house, mucking around. So what I'll do is I'll rip off a bit of tape, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clump the clumps together, if that makes any sense. So where there's a clump of branches, I'll put some tape around it. Okay, clump it together. And I'm going to do that around the whole tree. Once I've done that, I'll get back to you and we'll talk more about the tree, because you can't see it much at the moment. But once I clump these up like this, I'll just do another demo. It just gets them out of the way so you don't whack them with a Dremel or the die grinder. And that way you can see what you're doing. Okay, so here's another clump. Some of these clumps are starting to get pretty rigid, but we'll manage. Okay, this doesn't hurt the tree at all. Just clump them together. Do another one for you. Right, and then we'll get to the serious part of carving soon. But there's a lot of pre-work. This is probably what I want to show you as well. There's a lot of pre-work to carving. Got to get all your tools ready. I've also got textures in case I want to mark something out where I specifically want to carve out. So I can do that with a texture. Generally I freehand a lot. I just start carving somewhere and pretty much wing it and carve as I go around the place. Some people out there, which is fine, you might want to methodically plan it out and then carve it. That's up to you, it's fine, you know. Some people everyone works differently. If you need to plan it all out and mark it out on the tree, or do a pre-drawing if you're that way inclined, you know, that's fine, that's up to you. I'm sort of more of the freehand, just get going on it. And the only time I did try to draw a bit of a plan of what I was going to do, after about 2 minutes, I strayed from that plan and ended up with something completely different. So, for me, plans don't work, but some people they do. If you're that way inclined, what I'm trying to say is go for it. If that's how you do it, that's how you do it. There's no one rule about how you do anything. Just, you know, do it how you want to do it. No worries. So I'm going to bunch up all the branches like that. You can start to see already, it's getting them out of the way. You're bunching up the clumps. And I leave more than I need on here, I'll cut a lot of this off after, in case I slip with a tool and take out a branch somewhere. If I cut it back now to only 2 in a spot, whereas a lot of them have got 4, then what will happen, if I slip and hit it, I'm back to 1, not 2. Where if I hit 1 now, I've still got 3 more to choose from. So I'll do that, and then I'll trim back some of these little ones, little sucker shoots that I know I don't need, that are just useless but in the way. And then I'll get back to you, you'll be able to see the trunk a bit better. Like I say, generally, you don't let it get this growing before you carve. You would carve it before this point. But anyway, that's Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Does things a bit different. I'm a bit lazy. So, I'm a bit behind, but she's all good. We're going to get there. I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a good, fun video. No worries. Cheers. Good day, welcome back. Well, we put the tape around the sort of clumps of branches that sort of come from a similar area, taped them all together around the place. You can see there's a lot of different clumps around the place. And you can also see it's opened it up enough that I can see to get the carver in there, do some carving here, carving in this main trunk here, this little one in the front. The secondary trunk over here, I'll be able to carve on the inside of that. Bit of a stub here to carve out. To be honest, I'm not going to do any drawing on it. I'm just going to get into it. I'm not sure how far I'll go carving this thing out. It's got a bit of character to it. A few dead parts, which I can obviously carve out. Yeah, so I'll see how full on I go once I get into it, because like I say, I don't really like to just texture and go, okay, I'm gonna, keep up. You can, and don't get me wrong, it's fine, if that's what you do. You can text, you can go, okay, I want to keep this interesting bit up here, and I want to bring it down and around here. Okay, then I want to come back up to this live bit here, and I'm back. Then I might want to maybe carve another hole here, which goes right through maybe. So this will be live, this will be live. You can do that, all that sort of stuff, depending on. And I probably will do that sort of stuff, but I'll just do it freehand. I won't be drawing on it. Up to you if you do though, it's fine. Just get in there and do it. Right, let's get to the die grinder. I'll be taking away a reasonable amount of wood to start with, but not excessive, because I'm going to start on these smaller trunks. Okay, so I'm going to go for a fairly big router bit, probably something that size, fairly big router bit, 6.4mm shaft, 1/4 inch. Yeah, just put it in there. Can. For some reason it doesn't want to take it in there. Do it up. And get your spanner. One side. Spanner on the other. Always happens. Oh, my old back. Hard to bend down. It did be back in again. Right. Just do it up tight. Probably doesn't look like I'm putting much effort in, but I'm doing it all with my fingers. Okay, so it's nice and tight. Then I'll plug her in and away we go. Okay, so we got her plugged in. As you can see, she's working again. Plenty of power. Let's just see how long that coupling part lasts before that blows up. Right, so what I'm going to do is you've got to really brace yourself against the pot here, wherever you're holding, and then hold on to it and really brace yourself, because they do try to jump out pretty well. A router bit's a lot worse than a carving bit as far as trying to jump around, but it does take a lot of wood out. And it's just a really good way, really efficient way to get rid of a lot of wood quick. So right, let's get rid of some wood. Get rid of some wood, and I'll just show you, I'll probably show you this first stump, then I'll do a hyperlapse and just do the rest of the tree. And maybe stop and talk here and there about the whole thing until we move on to some different bits. Right, I'll just crank her up. So you can see it takes a lot of wood out. You've got to be careful. It does grab, try and jump around on you. Just got to be really careful. Okay, so we're getting close to hollow that out now. It's getting fairly hollow in there. Just going a bit deeper. Okay, so like you can see, that bit was pretty aggressive, grabbed a fair bit. So now we'll go to a different bit that's less aggressive and trim these edges here to feather it up, to make it look like a rotten back, you know, rotten died back stump or branch that's hollowed out. and hopefully we can go a bit deeper in there later on, we'll see. And just clean out all the sawdust in there. Cheers. Okay, so got a different bit on now, it's a bit smaller. I'll show you the old bit compared to this one. The one that we just used, which was very aggressive, and it was bouncing around a fair bit, but you know, took a lot of wood out pretty quick, and that's very hard wood on the olive. So we're going to go down a fair bit in size, try and feather these edges. I'll see how we go. You can see how we're feathering the outside in to create like a bit of a lip, and that'll go right the way around to show where it's sort of hollowed out. Okay, the preliminary carving looks pretty ordinary, but once you start getting this outside bit in here, it actually starts to make it look a lot more realistic. And then later on you can do a lot more detailed stuff which will make it look better again. But anyway, let's get back to it. Okay, sorry for all that boring carving, but just showing you how I get rid of a stump or turn it into a feature. So that was a flat cut, very similar to this one here, and I'll probably do similar on this one, and it's ended up looking like that, but I still got to do detail to it, so it will look a lot better than that. But I'll just get the air compressor and clean it out for you so you can have a better look at it. I'll just go and set that up now, so just hang 10. Oh man, why is everything always tangled? For God's sakes, man. Here I am trying to do a video. Damn me bloody air compressor hose all caught up. Oh, there's shit going everywhere. Jesus, man. Anyway. Such is life. Such is life. Alright, let's give it a clean out. Sorry about all that mucking around. Okay. I'll just wait for that air compressor to stop making a noise, so I'll get back with you in a second. Okay, so the air compressor stopped. Let's have a look. So that's that stub. It was flat cut across the top here. I'm still going to try and hollow out a little bit more in there. Put some deeper grooves in here with a smaller bit. Maybe put some holes, maybe even put a hole underneath and have it join up. Who knows, we'll see. But, you know, that's a pretty good way to deal with a massive flat cut stub on a branch or a trunk. You would call that one a trunk, I think. Secondary trunk or tertiary trunk. Tertiary, third three. Tertiary. Okay, so that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that to this one over here. Okay, I'll probably do it all on hyperlapse. Not sure what detail you'll get because I might get lazy moving the camera around. And then we've got to attack this big bertha over here. And then that's where I drew on it, but that doesn't really matter. It's just doing that for the demonstration, but I'll probably end up just going wherever I like there. As you can see, that's the stub. No worries, cheers. We'll go for hyperlapse for a while till we get down to some smaller bits. I'll do the big chunky bits. If there's anything I need to talk about, I'll stop and, you know, go live for that. Record it in sound. Otherwise, you'll be on hyperlapse. You'll get to see the progress, and I'll play some music for you. No worries. Cheers from Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Okay, I've done the other one. So this one here I showed you live or with audio talking. This one here I just did on hyperlapse. So I just wanted to show you how it turned out. So I've got this little knob here which I hollowed out and did the edges. I'll finish it off with a finer tool later, put some more detail in it. But this is what you call the block carving, getting rid of all the wood. And you can see around there, okay, we got rid of most of the wood. And then we'll do some detail later. So that's that. So you can see how much wood's got rid of. Quite hollow in there now. And then we just got to do some detail later, but we've still got to attack the main trunk. So I've done the two little ones. They're done. Now we've got to attack this main big one, which is going to be a big job, but we'll get it done. Cheers. Okay guys, well, there's this massive chunk up here all the way down here, which has got to go. So rather than stuff around with the die grinder, which could take a bloody long time, decided, I reckon, we're going to go with the old steel chainsaw, give her a bit of a run, see if anyone can give me some tips on how to use a chainsaw. Seems to happen. Right. I'll just start her up. Cheers. No prime one on this old steel. Well, it's brand new actually. Well, 6 months old. Chain's too tight, but we'll get over that. Okay, well, we had just enough fuel left in the tank. And we got the job done. Cheers. I'll give you a close-up of that. It's a good way to get rid of a lot of wood if you need to. So don't be scared, just get in there and hack away. And it generally turns out alright. So I've pretty much decided I don't need any of that wood because I won't taper from that top up here. And then this will be like a secondary sort of, not apex, but just the next branch down. But it'll end up forming part of the apex up here eventually. And I'll probably go through to the back with the carver, but I'll go rid of the bulk, as you can see from the top. Instead of it being a big round stump now, it's all hollowed out. And now I can get in there with the die grinder and do a bit more finesse. So don't forget the chainsaw when you got a bit of bulk. Cheers. G'day, welcome back. Well, to be honest, I'm getting a bit tired tonight, so I've done pretty much the block carving. I thought this was going to be a major carving video, but once I got into it, generally if I get into something, it always works out longer and harder than I thought. But once I got into this one, I actually think it's going to be easier than I thought. I was going to carve out all the base, hollow out right down the bottom, hollow out the sides, hollow out everything in the trunk and just have the whole thing almost see-through. But you know, once I got in there, I've pretty much just hollowed out the dead bits that were on there. And the live parts are pretty much where you would want them. So I'm pretty happy not to carve any further and risk killing some of the live parts off. I thought it would be quite a boring trunk, so I thought I would have to carve a lot, but it turns out I probably won't have to do too much more carving. I'll give you a spin of the tree. The back here where I would carve is quite interesting already. It's quite big at the base, gets thinner at the top. Got a lot of, you know, character to it on this back side, and obviously the front side now has got the carving. So I might not do much more carving, but I will be cleaning it up and doing a lot of detailed work. So this is what I call the block carving, just to get the main bulk of wood out before you start detailing it. So I'll give you a spin of the block carving, and then the rest will, you know, come out probably tomorrow, hit it again tomorrow. Do some of the detailed carving and maybe wire out the tree, paint some of that. I'll probably paint some of that water-based charcoal stain on there because I reckon that looks pretty good for the olives. So that's pretty much it. You know, once you start getting a bit tired, it's good to just give it up for the night, come back tomorrow, do it all again. Woo! It's been big. It's been about maybe close to 4 hours tonight. But to be already down to the detailed work, by the time I do that, style it, you might be talking about 7 hours, 8 hours. So it's been a surprisingly easy tree. I could carve it out more, but like I said, I think it's got enough character. And I'm not just being lazy, it's just that at the back here it actually has got a fair amount of character. So rather than have all my trees with all dead wood and hollows everywhere, I like to keep some with a full live trunk. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, we'll finish it off hopefully tomorrow, maybe the next day. We'll see how we go. Oh, another thing I broke. You might have seen the hyperlapse. Can't see it now. Yeah. I snapped a router bit clean in half. So the router bit actually broke. It actually broke where it reduces. Once again, 6.5mm shaft. This router bit reduces to about 4mm. And that's where it broke. And it's probably lucky it did, because if it didn't break there, maybe the Makita would have broke again. So that's a good thing. It's okay. I must say that little router bit actually ended up being the main thing I used. It takes a lot of wood out quite quick, and it's a lot more controllable, really good. So if you're going to buy one tool, a little router bit would be the one that you buy. No worries. Catch you tomorrow. I'm off to bed. Enjoy your bonsai. See you tomorrow. Cheers. Well, good day. Welcome back. Here we are in the morning. Fairly early still. Got me coffee. Bloody beautiful. And we're going to be working on this tree. I've done the block carving last night, as I said, which was only a few seconds ago for you guys. And now I'm going to start doing some more of the detailed, refined sort of carving. So I'm going to get probably the Dremel out with this little bit. I'll just show you. Go. Probably get the Dremel out with this little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create some little holes and interest in some of the deadwood in here. Put a few little holes here and there. Create some interest and probably do that around the place. And then after I've done that, most likely put on the this one, whatever you want to call it. And put some grooves in deadwood, so it looks like it's more natural, like the white ants have gone in there, or the softwood's rotted away and left the harder wood. So I'll use that one after that. First I'll get the Dremel ready, and I'll show you the first couple of holes that I do with the, it's sort of like a drill bit type carving bit really. So I'll show you the first few holes that I do, and then I'll finish it off, do a few more, and then we'll get back to the groove and putting the grooves in. No worries, let's get to it. No time like now to get into it. Cheers. Nothing like good old morning coffee. Okay, so we're going to be focusing in up here. In this area, you can see I've gone through in a couple spots with the bigger bit that I had on. But now I'm going to use this drill, and where I've got big flat spots of wood here, just going to create some interest by putting some holes in there, which will create more depth, more shadow, and just generally make it more interesting, which will hopefully improve the look of the natural deadwood. So I'll just turn on the Ozito and I'll just give you a bit of a demo. So basically all I do is stab a hole, normally in a depression, not so much on the outside where the wood sticks out, normally in a depression, somewhere like here. Okay. Just drill in. And then after you've drilled in, you want to sort of elongate the edges a bit in the same direction that you've carved these grooves. And then as you can see, that's already added some shadow in there. So that's what you're planning on doing. I can do another one up here. Once again in the depression, along the groove that you've created. See, a bit more shadow. Don't want to overdo it, but you do want to add a few of them around the place. Because naturally deadwood does this. So you can see we've added 3 just like that. I'll put another one in here. Okay, so you can see we've created a few more holes, a bit more interest, rather than just a flat bit of wood looking at you with a few grooves in it. Now there's some holes. Okay, another one down here. You can see how it creates more interest in the wood. And then when I groove it, it's going to really make it look good. And I'll show you the grooving later, but first I'm going to go through and put a heap of holes in. Another thing I want to say too, if you don't have the money or the budget, because it is quite expensive to buy a lot of these tools, like this here, this Makita, they run at about 200 to 250, depending on where you buy them. They're high powered. They do work pretty well. They're not too bad, apart from that issue I had. But I was running, you know, big bits like this, which puts a lot of pressure on it. But still, anyway, you can get something like this, a Zito. Okay, they got variable speed. Almost run it down to nothing. And I mean, they rev at anywhere from 8,000 to 35,000 RPM, and they do a good job. You know, if you put in one of these, this one here, I'll just get it. If you put in something like this round a bit, if it focuses, being a pain in the bum. Okay, you put in something like that round a bit in the Ozito, it works really, really well. Takes a fair bit of wood out. And it's a good budget way of doing it, because these Ozzitos run at about 50 odd bucks in a kit, where you get a few little carving and sanding and disc bits. You can pretty much get away with just that drill bit that's in there now, the router bit, and then something to put a groove in. You can, for the grooves, you can use the angle grinding discs that they come with and just put grooves in with those. That works as well. That's a cheaper way of doing it if you're just starting out, or if you've got smaller trees. If you've got a big tree, you do need to get something a bit big, otherwise it'll take you 20 hours just to do one little section. But anyway, so that's it. The holes are in there. I'm going to do some more, then I'm going to show you a bit of detailed work. Cheers! Okay guys, get the air compressor, clean the dust away so you can see what you're doing. Okay, so I've got holes in there pretty much wherever I want now. I've got enough holes. Just to create more interest, I'll just bring in a bit of a close-up of some of them. Just bear with me while I grab you off the stand and show you some holes. So here's some holes here. 1, 2, 3 there. Another one inside at the back down there. Another one in there. A few holes and stuff all over the place. Fair few down here. A couple at the bottom here. Some on this other one over here. So now it's time to do the detailed work. So I'll bring you a close up of the detailed work. I'll put that other bit in that I was talking about. For those of you who fast forwarded and didn't see it, I'll show it again. This one here, and that's just going to put grooves in the dead wood, make it look more natural. So I'll probably bring you up close on maybe something at the top, seeing as that's probably the easiest for me to get to, and bring you in close on. And then after that, I'll just bring you up here. Okay, so the light's not too good at the moment with the... Yeah, that's probably pretty good. I'll leave it like that. There's a few shadows. Okay guys, I've got that tool in. We're ready to go. Just going to create some grooves. So I'll show you to do this. So basically, just to explain what I'm doing, is just putting grooves in every now and then. One, to get rid of my tool marks, so that you don't notice my tool marks. So there's less, less made by man. Carving's always going to look a little bit man-made unless you're extremely good at it. And I'm not that good at it, so it'll always look a little bit man-made, but still look pretty cool, I hope. So the grooves, get rid of the man-made marks and just put some more natural marks in there to make it look like it's really weathered old wood. So let's get to it. There'll be a bit of noise, but hopefully not too bad. Normally I run this at full speed, but I've just got it going a bit slower, just to hopefully bring the noise down a bit. Okay, so basically I'm just going to put grooves in. Now I'm going to have to go full speed. Ready? I'm going to send it. I know things are a bit boring when you're just carving. Like I said earlier in the video, no alcohol, no getting a half cup mucking around, because we do have power tools here. And you can see here, look at all this grooving in here now compared to before. You can see all those tool marks, and it's just basically block carving. You start to put this detail in, and you can see it gets rid of a lot of the tool marks. Still a bit of a tool mark in there. Gets rid of a lot of tool marks and creates something a lot more believable, I reckon. So that's pretty much how I do it. Pretty simple really, just go around, there's nothing to it, just go around, grind out the main bit of wood, and then get your detail work done. Just grind away in there and make some holes and divots and lines, and obviously put your holes through the trunk. Very simple really, you just get your tools and go for it. And you sort of feel your way around, and it sort of just seems to happen naturally. Don't have to think about it too much. No worries. I'm going to do a hyperlapse, put on a hyperlapse while I do the rest of the tree. It's going to take a fair while. As you can see, that section there took a fair while, and I still got to do the rest of that plus the other bits, so it's going to be a little while. And I'm also going to try and do the inside of the tree as much as I can get to, just to hide those tool marks. No worries. Let's get to it. Cheers. Well guys, after a fair few hours, at least 3 to 4 more, most of the detail's been done. I'll give you a quick look around and tell you my next step. Sorry about the dodgy camera work. Okay. So if you look around, detail work's been done all in there. All through there. Looking pretty cool. Those black marks will soften up after a while, but I am going to paint it with a water-based wood stone, because I think that looks pretty cool on the olive. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you like the natural look, that's fine. Leave it natural. There's the other section. Pretty cool. And then the other one over there. Hard to see it exactly with the shadows and the lights properly, but I might take it outside and do a video when I'm finished. So that's pretty cool over there. You can see all the shadows in that one. You'll get more shadows without all these lights, because I've got lights going from all different directions. You don't really get the shadow effect too much. So anyway, that's the carving done for now. So what I'm going to do now is get a different bit out. If I got this bit out, it leaves too big a circle where you do it and it looks too man-made. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this little bit out. It's a tiny carving bit. And what I'm going to do is areas that I couldn't get into properly, like back there, I'm just going to try and get rid of some of these little tool marks in here a little bit with this, just to finally finish it off. Okay, I just wanted to show you something. Sort of like the progression of my carving over time. Just show you a few things. This is one of the very first, it is the very first one I did. And this is an olive. And you can see it was sort of block carved without detail, but you can see 9 years later maybe, you can see it's starting to get cracks and sort of fissures in the bark, becoming more natural. So that's no detailed work done. Okay, just block carved, starting to look more natural, but it's taken 10 years. Okay, let's go and find another one which I've done a little bit more recently, but still in the earlier stages of me carving. Okay, this is pretty much the one that I just showed you. It's pretty much how that one looked just after I carved it. Okay, so here's another one that I've carved, and I haven't gone to the attention to detail. I haven't bothered with that, and you can see it looks a lot more blocky, less detailed, less natural. It makes me want to get back in here and recarve them. So, you know, I thought it looked great at the time. It looks okay, like the block carving's fine, but I do think it needs some more work again. Go in there and do some detail. Okay, here's more of a detailed carve. You can see, put more detail into that. And I painted it black with water-based wood stone, which I like, but just show you something in a sec. And then I was a little bit more blocky in here, but it looks like I got lazy in the middle. So you can see in the middle of it, I got lazy, it's all blocky. And down here. So I might have to revisit some of these because I was a bit lazy. We'll see. Anyway, so I'll just show you another one that I did. Oh, here's another one that I've carved. Same thing, this one was a long time ago, almost a fair few years now. You can see this. Extremely blocky in nature. Just like block carving. Without any detail work. Okay. Still looks fine, but it's not really the look I'm after. I think I'm going to have to revisit some of these carving jobs. Now, what else have I got? Oh, this is one I did fairly recently, and it's not bad. A few holes, bit of work. Okay. And here's one that I put more attention to detail into. Where are we? Come along over here somewhere. Yeah, here. Find all the weeds in this pot. A lot of weeds. Olive's looking really healthy. So this is one that I did, and I put way more detail in it. And you can see the extra attention I put into that, and how much better it looks than the block carved ones. Also, another thing I want to mention is this one here I never stained. It was white like the one in the shed now, and I never stained it, and I'm starting to think I quite like that look a fair bit better than the black look. So I'm thinking I might leave it and it'll naturally turn grey over time like this one has. So yeah, that's the difference. That one's carved properly, a lot more detail. The other ones are carved fine, they just don't have the detail. So I might have to get back in there and do it. Okay, so that was the non-painted, this is a painted one. Put a fair bit more effort into detail on the top, but like I say on the inside, no I didn't. There's a lesson for you, don't be slack. That was me being lazy. Alright, cool. So I've decided we're not painting it. I like the other look better, and we're going to get back in the shed to style it. Cheers. Okay guys, well the carving's finished, as you can see. Drinking soda. Don't want to drink and carve. Don't drink and carve, guys. Don't drink and carve. And then look at the mess here. That's crazy. That's how much mess we made there with all the tools, and how much wood's come out of that tree. So, all the carving done. I would love to style it with a beer or a port or something. And it is the weekend. Instead, I'm going to have a lemon flavoured drink. Because I'm taking the kids down to the pageant. Me and the wife and the kids, family, we're going down to the Christmas pageant. So, that means I'm drinking lemonade. Alright, let's get to styling it. So, we'll just see whether it's all in frame. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, so what's going to happen? I've already taped up all these branches, and in a roundabout way it's actually going to help me with styling it, because instead of all the branches crisscrossing and getting in the way now, I can wire a bottom branch, style it, wire the next one that's taped up, style it, untape the next one, style it, and before I know where I am, I'll be finished. Just fast forward about 2 more hours. It's been a long video, I know, but we're nearly there. We're on the home stretch. So let's get to it. I'll probably maybe run you through one branch, and then I'll just put it on hyperlapse and let it go while I style the whole tree. I've shown plenty of videos on wiring anyway. Just put your wire around it. Bend your branches to basically where they fill in a gap. You don't want them crossing the trunk too much, although once you get to like this point, I don't see a problem with it. You just don't want your first main branch to go cut the trunk in half, really. But no hard and fast rules, do what you like. Anyway, so let's start wiring it. There's a lot of branching to choose from. I'm probably going to leave the bottom branches long and not cut them back, so that the bottom branches thicken up quicker than the top branches, and the top branches I'll cut back reasonably hard. Probably only keep 2 branches from each location, or each spot where I've got the tape. There is a few branches that have divided, so I can actually fill out a bit better pad than just 2 branches, but we'll see. Alright, let's get into it. I'll choose a good good branch to wire out first, probably this one. And we'll get to it. Cheers! Alright guys, I've brought you in a bit closer to wire out this one branch. I'll just show you how I do that, not how to do it, because there's plenty of ways and you do it however it pleases you. This is just how I do it. Okay, so I'll unwind it. So it's actually going to make it a lot easier now that I've got this tape on all the other branches. I can see what's going on a lot better. Okay, so here we got 4 branches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right from the start I can tell this little one's going to be no good at the bottom down here. Okay. So then we got 3 left. And one thing we can do, there's 3 left. If you have a look, they're not from the exact same location. There is actually a bit of a gap. So one thing I've started doing now is I like to wire the 2 out like that. But I also don't mind the look of then bringing one of these out and bending it around to create a sort of higher upper branch, because the likelihood of a bud coming out there now is fairly slim. And if I have a flat branch here and then a flat branch there, it's going to look like a pine tree, or some people call them a ladder tree. Just some people style their deciduous and their evergreens like a pine. But I'm going to actually keep that one up and have it fill in, because basically what you're looking to do is just to fill in the whole area of the tree. And because that's in a separate location there, you shouldn't get too much swelling there. It should be fine, and it's so close to the trunk that it'll just help bulge the trunk a bit more in that spot. Right, so first of all, right, I must explain actually. We got 3 branches here. Now, we don't need to bend the very base here. If we had to bend the base here, we would have to anchor it either in the ground or to this back really big branch at the back, so that we can try and bend it. But the likelihood of it bending is slim anyway. You would probably guide wire it to bend it if you wanted to bend it, but it's just too strong. But anyway, when I wire these 2, I don't want to wire them together like that. And then if you wired it like that, and then wanted to bend it down, they would just flop around together, because there's no structure back here to hold it to the main branch. So it'll just flop around wherever it likes. So what you do is, because I want to put downward movement and then move this one as well, is you opt for the fatter branch, run along this main branch, and then come along this other fatter branch. Okay, that would be your first wire. Then you can move these 2 wherever you like, because they anchored each other along this really heavy branch, which is not going to bend. And then you would secondly wire these 2 together after that with a little bit of a thinner gauge wire. A thinner gauge, enough for that one. So this wire here will run up this branch until a point where I think that the thinner wire for this one can take over. It'll make sense in a second anyway. Right, so I'll make sure I leave enough wire to get around about where I want to go. Now remember too, I'm going to leave these long and then cut them back later. So cut them back after maybe a year when they're nice and fat. So I only need to put movement in really the first part of the branch. Second part of the branch, not so much. So always support where you're putting the wire on, you support it, hold it. Okay, now we cruise up to the bigger branch, cut it to where you think you need to be. I tend to waste wire and always cut it too long, but anyway, probably better than cutting it too short. So we'll keep going around here, head up this other main branch here. Okay, and now we should be able to move this branch anywhere we want. You can see that moves, stays there, it's fine, so you can put that wherever you want. This one here is a little bit fatter, so it may not, but it does, it is staying there. So this one here will be used to fill in the area above it, so we don't have too big of gaps, and that way the whole thing looks nice and bushy like an olive should, rather than have big gaps where you can, well, you could fly a plane through some of them, I reckon. Some of the ones that you see on trees. I mean, I used to style it like that in the past, but now I like the more fuller look, and I don't like the look of having big gaps. But if you do, that's up to you, that's fine. Style it like that, there's no rules. Style it however you want to style it. Don't worry about what other people say. Whatever you think looks good is how you should style it. Most of all, you just got to have fun. Okay. Now, this wire here, I didn't have to run it up this branch very far because this other wire is already strong enough to bend that branch. Okay. So I only went up about a turn and a half to 2 turns up this back branch, which gives it enough strength or anchors it well enough on that branch that then you can twist the wire around this smaller one, okay, without the wire letting go or twisting or doing anything weird. So we just go around that one. Careful to put it in between all the foliage. You don't want to squash the foliage or the nodes. Makes it hard for the branches to divide out. And then basically you just want to play around with how you think it looks okay. Remembering to fill in the area. Okay. And I'm going to leave these long. Okay, same with that one. And basically at the end of I want my branches to go up, then down and flat for a bit, and then come back up again. And when all this stuff in here divides, I want to bring that up as well. Just to style it like a broadleaf or a deciduous tree, I think should be styled. No worries, that's it for that branch. I'll do the same around the rest of the tree. I'll do it on a hyperlapse so you'll be able to see it pretty quickly. And I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes. Cheers. G'day, welcome back. Well, pretty much finished now. We've got it carved. We didn't paint because I decided that once the natural wood ages, it sort of goes darker and looks slightly better than the painted anyway. Short term, I think painted looks a bit better, but long term, maybe not. So I'll have to rethink that. You know, took a fair few hours, probably all up 10 hours, maybe 12. Not as long as I thought it would take. Wiring the tree went well. Lots of branches to choose from. I kept pretty much all the branches apart from choosing 2 from each location because there was quite often 3 or 4. So I kept a lot of branches. You'll notice that a lot of people style their trees. They might only have 5 or 6 branches if you count how many branches around the tree up to the top. This one here would have probably 25 to 30, I reckon. And it really gives it a more full, filled in look. And this is before it's done any ramification. So when it ramifies, a lot of these will be cut back. Excuse these really long ones at the bottom because I want them to fatten up at the bottom of the trunk, fatten those ones up. So you can see how many branches I've actually kept. I'll give you a quick spin here. I might give you a spin outside in the more natural light in a minute, but I'll give you a spin here of the tree. You can see it's starting to take shape. Looks a bit different than it did at the start. Might try and put up a pic of how it looked at the start. Yeah, pretty cool. Come Sarah. Fine, don't give me a kiss. So yeah, anyway, so that's it. It's been a long video. Doing the carving, no worries. Kids are here, keeping an eye on me. Hopefully they'll be quiet. That's it. No worries. Cheers for watching. I'll give you a spin outside and a bit of a close-up of the deadwood. Hopefully the natural light will give you more shadows and stuff in the deadwood, make it look better. Anyway, it's all happening here. We're about to go to the Christmas pageant, so I had to wire it pretty quick. Managed to get it done. No worries. Cheers. Tell your mates. Thanks for watching, supporting, subscribing. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers. What are you pushing?
The stop button.
Okay.
He got his tail. He got his tail. He got the tail.